Are you struggling with using social media and branding to grow your business and market yourself better? Well, today I'm talking to Henry Kaminski, also known as the Brand Doctor, all about how to really leverage social media and smart branding to grow your business, to increase your sales conversions, and to convert your followers into clients. If this is the first time we're meeting here on YouTube, thank you for stopping by. And if you're into growing your business, if you want the latest and greatest strategies to scale your company with ease, make sure you subscribe. We produce videos almost every single week about all the information you need to know as a smart business owner. Welcome to Powerhouse Business on YouTube. I'm your host, Carolin Soldo. I'm a business owner, business scaling master, and mom of 2 boys. I love thinking big, pushing boundaries, and doing things differently. Most of all, I'm all about achieving massive growth with ease and helping you scale your business by living the life you love. Let's go. From day one, I've always made branding a really critical component in my business, and I've seen it pay me back time and time again. But these days, many business owners will come to me and say, Carolin, is branding still important? And should I be investing in it now or later? How professional does my website have to be? How much money should I be investing? And also, what's happening on social media, right? Can we still win on social media without paying for ads? How can we convert followers to clients? How can we get the reach we want? And what does branding have to do with all of that? What does branding have to do with your sales conversions, with your marketing funnels, with your message? Well, today I'm talking to Henry all about these questions, and he, as the brand doctor, will fix our businesses and our brands for sure and help you scale your business with ease. Henry Kaminski Jr. is the founder of Unique Designs, a full-service design, branding, and digital marketing agency that is dedicated to helping personality brands, coaches, consultants, influencers, speakers, and more scale their profits and increase their exposure online. He's also the host of the popular Brand Doctors podcast, where he talks about strategies that help entrepreneurs design reputable and profitable personal brands. As a self-taught graphic designer and brand consultant, he's overcome all the odds and he's built a wildly successful multi-million-dollar business over the past 14 years. So let's welcome Henry. So Henry, welcome to the show.
Carolin, thanks so much for having me. What a pleasure.
Yeah, the first question I have to ask is about your name. How did you earn the title Brand Doctor?
Such a great story. So I was in a mastermind group about 5 years ago, and I connected with another branding colleague inside of that mastermind group. And he was very intrigued with how I was positioning myself. I'm a graphic designer by trade, but I have extensive knowledge in digital marketing and funnel design and funnel architecture. And he pulled me aside virtually in a Facebook private message, and he goes, you intrigue me. And now here's a guy who built a $1 billion business in 11 months.
Oh, wow.
In the vape space, like the vape cigarette space.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He was featured in Rolling Stones and everything, right? So for him to call me out and sort of bring me aside, I was, one, a little nervous, and two, I was a little flattered.
Yeah.
So he says to me, I've never seen a graphic designer position himself this way. So please tell me your process. And I said, well, I've been doing this for a decade, and I've learned what to do and what not to do, and I've learned what gets my clients results and what doesn't get my clients results. And so I've refined it down to really a 3-step process. So before I do any design work, any branding work whatsoever, we have to do a diagnosis first.
Yes.
And once I could diagnose the true issue of a potential client's problem in the branding space, then I could then prescribe a strategy.
Yeah.
Like
a doctor
a strategy that's customized for them. And then once we do that, then we could apply a strategy accordingly. Now, I was just using these words with no thought whatsoever of the medical field.
Mm-hmm.
So this branding connoisseur says, wow, you kind of described like how a doctor works on patients. And I said, I never thought of it that way. And he said, so you're like a brand doctor. And I said, OMG. I said, guess what? We're rolling with that.
Yeah.
And that's it. So the brand doctor was born that day. I don't remember exactly what day. It was sometime in the summer. And I just ran with it. And before I ran with it, I did some research. There was some guy in the UK who established a name. Didn't look like he was doing much with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you know what? I'm going to run with this name as long as I can. And then if somebody says I can't use it anymore, then I won't use it. I didn't think about copywriting. I didn't think about trademark. I didn't think about any of that. I just said, I'm just going to go and see what happens. I could always resort back to Henry Kaminski if I have to.
Sure.
And never, it's been 5+ years. Maybe I'm jinxing myself right now, Carolin, but nobody has ever brought it to my attention. And people actually enjoy it. And it's been a lot of fun using it.
It's so great. Well, it stood out to me right away. And it does such a nice job at, like you said, describing how you approach branding, right? Like a doctor. And I sort of expected you to say something like that. But how cool, like this guy, like this incredible, genius in terms of, how quickly he built his business, came up with it. And funny thing, I sort of look at my business consulting this way. When I have you come into me and you say I have, A, B, C, D problem, we diagnose it, we look at where is it coming from, and then we look at the whole system, like the whole body, and, we look for fixes, and we sort of prescribe the strategy from there. So that's cool. And you also do brand assessments, which I want to talk a little bit more about later, but actually right now would be a really good time to talk about that, Henry, because you just talked about assessing a brand. So something really cool that you do is you offer brand assessments, and you bring people to you and you look at their brands. So tell us what that process looks like right off the bat.
Yeah, so I everybody gets a little kick out of this when I say this, but if I were to prescribe some sort of solution for you without thoroughly diagnosing the problem, that's malpractice. Doctors go to jail for that. Right?
True.
So,
yes.
So I always say that is why I do what I do and how I do what I do, because I don't want to go to jail for malpractice. AKA, I don't want you to invest money into something that's not going to get you the result that you're looking for. Okay. So when you think of assessment, and I've seen this other competitors that have a similar offer, when they offer some sort of audit, right? They get you on a Zoom call, they share screens, and they basically bash your logo, your website, your funnels, your social media to a pulp. And then you feel like, oh my God, there is no other alternative but to hire these people and get me the results that they're promising, right? I don't approach it that way. I don't. What I want to do is I want to sit down with you, and I don't even bring up your logo, your website, funnels at all. I don't even share my screen. I sit down with the client after they book the assessment, and I ask them very, very pointed questions, as if you were going in to a doctor's office, and that doctor was sitting down next to you trying to understand what's going on. So I look at where you want to go with this brand. I go and look at where you're at right now with this brand, and we find the issues, the speed bumps, the blockages, the bottlenecks in between, and I one by one, through proper questioning, uncover those. Then I could figure out, all right, this is a good candidate for this procedure.
Right.
Or you know what? I am not the specialist for this,
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to refer you to a referral partner.
Not only are you doing the client a favor, but yourself too, right? Because you want to work with people that you can actually get some awesome results for and feel good about the work you're doing, not just, I guess, pushing people into this program by making them feel bad. I love that, Henry. Such authenticity and just honesty and results, oriented. Let's also move into some other questions that people might be wondering. And so I want to start with that. The one question I always get, Henry, from people about social media is obviously, how do we convert our followers into clients? But does social media even work anymore? Like, I also see so many people posting all kinds of things, and there's so much frustration in what to post and when to post, and then we're not getting the engagement, and does it even work without running ads? And like, oh, there's so much. Like, what do you think? Like, what's your opinion on all of this?
So I can promise you that it does work still. It does work still.
Mm-hmm.
We have tested and battle tested different strategies over the past 14 years, and we found out what doesn't work and what does work. And what happens is, I think we get too caught up in the minutia of what I look like, or what I sound like, or what why would anybody listen to me, type of things. And that's all head trash, to be quite frank. I think when you can put out an authentic story, put out an authentic message to the clients that you truly want to serve, and get really, really focused in on that one person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I had a coach back in the day that said, speak to a client, not your audience, or speak to a client, not an audience. Okay.
Yeah.
That'll help you sharpen your messaging, right? Because our natural instinct is, because it's social media, it's a mass audience. So we need to try to talk to everybody to get their attention. And that's the worst move you can make, right? So your goal for social media is to really qualify the people that you really want to serve, and to be confident enough to speak the language of your ideal client, to speak to the pain points of your ideal client, and not worry so much about who you're not speaking to. That's the key. That's the key. And it's so hard. Carolin, I struggled with this forever. I was just right before this, I was on a group coaching call that I host every other Tuesday. I have something called the Brand Doctors Growth Club, and it's a group coaching program that I host for folks that want more of a community-based growth solution. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I was saying was, when you are putting your content out there, it is so easy for us to get off track and talk about things that don't move the needle for our business, but we so much enjoy having the conversation
that's interesting.
We forget that, oh no, every time I go and put out a piece of content in social media, that is leaving a breadcrumb, a crumb trail back to our brand, right? So if you're talking about, this particular client was talking about how he loves to talk about personal development. I don't know about you, Carolyn, but I'm a personal development junkie too. Sure. Like, I love personal development.
All day.
I love talking about it, right?
Yeah.
And I fell into the same trap years ago. I was going through some stuff in business and in my personal life, and I would go out on social media and I would talk about it publicly.
Okay.
And then I would get these messages, and then my wife started getting these messages like, what's Henry becoming, like a motivational speaker or something?
Oh.
Like, does he not do branding and design anymore? Like, what's the matter? Like, what's going on with him?
Oh.
And I realized, OMG, I just spent the last month and a half in the wrong direction, like 2 degrees, 3 degrees off of what I should have been talking about, which is brand strategy, brand design, funnels, things like that.
See, that's interesting. Some people would actually say the opposite, but I think I agree with you. They would say, no, you have to show who you really are, and you have to, do the mindset stuff where, you really want to talk about sales or branding. But you're right. It dilutes the message, right? It
Well,
gets
do
people
it,
off track.
Carolyn. Do it. So I recommend you do sprinkle in, and I'm going to give you a strategy right now that's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But know the balance.
Yes.
Right. So when I'm posting on social media, I have 5 pillars that I have to abide by, and it's the categories, if you will, that I'm passionate about, but what my clients, my ideal audience is also passionate about. Right. So family's first, right? Then branding, right? Then design, then marketing, then entrepreneurship. Those are my top 5. So every post is going to fall into one of those 5 buckets. And then when I finish that cycle, I start from the top again.
Ah, smart. Okay.
And then that rounds me out 360. And so my audience can now see the 360 view of Henry Kaminski versus just the business side of Henry Kaminski.
I love that. So what we learned so far is that, and I always like to summarize and sort of what are my key takeaways here is, you said that we need to be speaking to this one person, our one and only ideal client. And to your point, it's hard to choose, and it shifts too, right? People shift and change, and the world is changing, and we have to be on top of that. But one person, and then be strategic about what we post. And I love your tip with the 5 categories. And anyone watching right now, you can figure out what these 5 categories are for you, and then find the balance in posting while speaking to that one person. That's so great. I like structures like this. This is making sense in my brain. I can follow
frameworks
yeah,
are how you scale your business.
Awesome. What else in terms of no, this is great. Well, it's actionable, Henry. People talk a lot about generic stuff, but this is where people, we want to take action. So yeah.
I have a lot of experience on Instagram. We have over 152,000 followers plus over there. Instagram has been very good to me as far as building community, building leads, building sales, and really my number one lead gen source for many years. And so there's a few things that I want you to understand about social media that I think we forget. And I see a lot of mistakes being made where we talk at our audience instead of talking with our audience.
Explain.
And okay, so what's happening is you're kind of just like up there on your perch, posting all day long, but there's no engagement. Right. You're kind of talking down to them, if you will. Maybe not in a condescending way, but there's no two-way communication. Mm-hmm. There's none. So that's a huge, huge no-no. So when I realized that, because one of my coaches said to me once, Henry, social media is to make friends, to network, to host parties and be the host of the party, right? And to learn. And it brought me back to my college days. I loved hosting parties. I was like that social butterfly in college, and I just loved hosting my own party. I like going to them, but I loved hosting them, right? Mm-hmm. And so I started to think about, all right, well, if I hosted a party and I walked around like I thought my poop don't stink, and I wasn't nice to anybody, and I didn't show, and I just was like super fresh to everybody, you think people would come back to my party? No. So I thought about that from a social media perspective, and I said, okay, how can I create engagement? First thing that came to mind was, well, how often are you engaging in conversation with your audience? Are you asking them questions?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you answering questions? Right? Are you letting them participate? So, for example, on multiple different social media channels, I'm just going to stick with Instagram here because this is what I know best. But I started doing, so this is a kind of a 2-for-1 bonus tip here, is I started doing more IG lives. Okay. So you could do Instagram lives. And I used to do them by myself, and I used to just ignore all the comments coming in. I would ignore everybody, and I would just talk for 30 minutes and I would get out. Horrible engagement. Nobody would, then I would only get like 15, 20 people showing up. It was awful. Mm-hmm. Then I said, all right, we're going to change this up. We're going to do an IG Live, but we're going to collab with a direct or indirect competitor. I know it sounds insane. Why would you ever go live with a competitor, right? Audience. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what I started to do is I would go out and I would find people on Instagram that had similar audiences that I wanted to influence, whether they were direct or indirect competitors. And I would, and then I also looked to see how engaged their audience was.
Yeah.
Right? If it was a high engagement, I'm going to reach out to them. I'm going to say, hey, I love what you do. I've been following you for a while. I do these IG Lives 2-3 times a week. I would love to do one with you. So then we jump on a live together, and our audiences double in size because their audience gets pinged when they go live, and my audience gets pinged when I go live.
Sweet.
So now we are sharing audiences, right? And the person and I are just pouring into the audience. We teach a little bit up front, and then we do a Q&A for the next 20-30 minutes, and we get everybody involved, and we say, hey guys, if you're enjoying this, take a screenshot of this live right now and repost it in your stories, and we both, I promise you, will share it to our stories and give you a huge shout out. And now you're engaging them. You're answering questions. You're making them part of. That has absolutely changed the game for me and my business online. So does social media still work? If you do it right. Yes.
Yeah, relationship and engagement and talking with the people. So smart. And this Instagram tip, IGTV, I wasn't even aware of that because, I mean, to your point, they both, you and them get pinged at the same time. So you really bring the audience in. Facebook doesn't do it that way, I don't think. And well, like YouTube, we're not pinging anybody on your site right now. Podcasts don't do it that way either. So that's a huge benefit in terms of Instagram. That's awesome.
Well, Instagram just upped their live stream game. So now you can have up to 10 people on an IG live at once. So we got smart this week. So I've been doing these lives with this woman who has a really engaged audience, and she's more focused in personal branding, which is great. Because we serve a lot of that client too, the coach, the consultant that wants to, really professionalize their online presence. So we're on a live stream yesterday, and I said, it's just a colleague of ours came up in conversation, and I said, what if we had him come on another live stream with us? And then she said, well, I know somebody else that I think would be awesome. So this Thursday, we're going to do a 4-way live stream.
Ooh, nice. It sounds
IG Live, where now all 4 of our audiences will be pinged at the same time. And we're just going to pour. It's like an all-star game.
Yeah. It's massive.
Right? It's like an all-star game. So now, we're getting more creative with that stuff as a collective, and we're all growing. Like we're all growing, we're all sharing, we're all improving together.
And I love that, and yes, I mean, the competition exists out there and it's real, but you don't really want to look at it that way. And if you're showing up, because we all have our own style, you are you, I am who I am, and whatever. So people feel drawn to, whatever they align with. And it's just about, the more you share, the more everybody wins. It's awesome.
That's business.
It's business. You are talking about the idea of a personal brand and a business brand. And so maybe explain the difference in your mind and how we should be leveraging one or the other or both.
I love this question, and I always answer it the same, obviously. It's a both. And both are very, very important. Your business is an offshoot of who you really are. So if I come into a business that is very disorganized, I feel like they're hanging on by the seat of their pants, that is a reflection of you, quite frankly. And that's how I perceive it. Now, again, I'm just one person, right? I always say, I shared this in one of my podcasts. couple weeks ago. I said, say you keep getting recommended this restaurant and you're dying to use it. You're dying to go out there with, whether you're on a date or with your wife, husband, whatever. And you walk in and you immediately see discombobulation. You see that it's dirty. You see that people are frustrated, and you get to your seat and you're ignored, and never mind. Now you got this bad taste in your mouth. Never mind what the bathroom looks like. It's probably a disaster, right? And now you had all of these expectations. You had all of these high hopes, and you get there and it's a complete letdown. That's branding right there.
Sure.
And I reference it because I say it's your brand identity.
Yeah.
That really is going to sell you up front. So if I see an amateur and unprofessional logo, my mind, and I'm not saying this is right, Carolyn, but this is how the world has programmed us.
Of course, people judge like that. Yeah, no doubt.
Right? I'm gonna say, food probably stinks.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Right.
Now the food could be amazing.
True.
You know, I've traveled around the world with my wife, and we've gone into places that look like, you know, you wouldn't step foot in it, and it was the most elegant food and the most awesome experience on the planet, right? But had we not gotten that recommendation or just said, no, trust me, we would have never went there. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what's happening to people's brand identities. I don't want to go too far off the topic of business brand or personal brand, but what I would recommend is you brand both. Mm-hmm. And to be honest with you, it's a lot easier to brand your personal brand because you're doing it every single day.
Sure.
From your background that I'm looking at right now, Carolin, says a lot about you. Okay? The way you articulate your questions and the way you're facilitating this interview tells me a lot about your personal brand, right? Mm-hmm. So you're creating your brand with every word you speak, every move you make, every purchase you buy. Mm-hmm. So that's the easy part. How to transfer that into your business brand is where it could get tricky. So this is where I would recommend, obviously, you hire somebody to help you, because there's a lot of times, and you could probably agree, Carolyn, as you're growing and building your business, there's a lot of blind spots.
For sure. Mm-hmm.
We're too close to our business. Yeah. We don't see the outside perspectives that we should be seeing. We get too close to our product or service, and we need that outside perspective to help us, right? Yeah. And that's why I say it's very, very important to do that. I hired branders to rebrand my business, and I'm a brander. So, it is what it is. Yeah. But that has helped me tremendously. So people are going to buy you. I just want to get this out. People are going to buy you before they buy your product or service. Carolyn, you could have the best product and service in the world that could solve my problem in minutes. But if I cannot resonate with you, the founder, I will go somewhere else.
Yes, 100%. So I think naturally I've always done it that way because I launched my business for the need to help and connect and just, be with people. And no matter how much my business grew, I was always me. I don't think I'm better than anyone. I'm just, who I am. But to, again, put this into a place where we can begin to apply. So the personal brand is, what you said, Henry, it's us. It's how we show up, meaning how we speak, what we post on social media, what we reveal about our personal lives or not. So none of this stuff can be random, right? So my personal Facebook is not a random place for me to put stuff when I'm running a business online. So I have to sort of be aware of that, right? And then to your point, the business brand is where the visuals of the business come into play. Am I right? So you're thinking now the logo, the website, the colors, and right? Some of that stuff. But
the messaging as well.
Messaging, yes.
Yeah, the messaging as well. So how is your brand's message sounding to your audience? How is it feeling to your audience? How are you showing up from a visual standpoint? So how do you need to look to attract the right client? I'm a big proponent of quality attracts quality, and this is why I was saying the rich get richer is because they roll in clicks. They roll in clicks.
Yeah.
And so the same thing with us. Like we have I and my little collective of Instagram live Like we all have similar businesses, but we roll in cliques because we're all on the same level. We all appreciate the same things. We all appreciate quality and premium and design and all of that. So we're gonna come together, right?
Yeah. As
a colony, right? So when you're out there trying to sell a high ticket product or service, but your website looks like it was from 1982.
Oh, yes.
Right? You're killing the confidence in your ideal customer because they're looking at you going, your website isn't even mobile optimized. And you're trying to sell me a $10,000 thing. Like something subconsciously isn't adding up. Right. So I'm out. Right. And that I think that's where sales and marketing funnels get a bad name is because people don't spend the effort that they need in the quality design to get out of that stigma that funnels are spammy.
Absolutely. I mean, you're just hitting on another topic we could talk for hours about, the marketing. And I have a top of mind idea right now with a new funnel that we launched, and I see a huge difference in how well these things perform from a landing page standpoint, and then the images we use in ads and things, and how sexy we make them, or how professional, high quality we make them, or good looking in terms of how they perform. The message still has to be good, to your point as well, but the whole impression that, you know, how modern it looks and all of that, it's night and day, huge difference. By now, if you watch the entire episode, you understand how important branding is. I mean, you could even go and say it is everything. It's the core. It's where it all starts. It's where your marketing starts. It's where your company culture starts, and then therefore your team and everything. So it is the thing in terms of sales, marketing, and, you know, having success in your business. And you got to do it right. And you have to be open to hearing the truth and wanting to know the truth too. So, Henry, where can we find you? And I want to remind people of your brand assessment because, you know, if you have a brand right now, you need a new perspective. We talked about you having blind spots. So maybe it's time for you to reach out to Henry and have him assess your brand, which will be a good idea. But yeah, where can people find you? We know Instagram, so tell us the touch points again.
Yeah, so on Instagram, it's the brand DR. And my website is Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S, .net. So when you go there, you'll get access to my podcast, my YouTube channel, my Instagram, the whole nine. So just go to my website, Unique Designs with a Z at the end, not an S, .net, and you'll get access to a free masterclass, and you'll get access to tons of free content on the page, on the site.
Awesome. And we'll put those links below in the description. So just go check those out. Connect with Henry. Go check him out on all of his channels, but maybe firstly on Instagram, where he's showing up a lot. And I just want to thank you, Henry, for spending this quality time with me and being here today.
Oh, Carolin, thank you so much. What a pleasure.
Of course. I'll see you soon. Thanks again.
And now I would love to hear from you. As always, down below, leave me a comment. I would love to have a conversation with you all about your biggest insights, what you learned in this episode, and if you have any questions about your business, your branding, your marketing, and all the things we talked about in this episode today. If you liked this episode, of course, share it with your friends. There are so many business owners out there who struggle when it comes to branding and their messaging and how to make it work on social media. So share this information, send it to a colleague, send it to maybe someone who works for you in your business, and let's together rise. Let's educate, each other and help each other win the game of branding, online marketing, and social media. Would you like to copy the simple optimization system that got my business on the Inc. 5000 list of America's most successful companies? Then sign up for our on-demand training, where I'll teach you the 3 simple steps to grow your business faster and farther than you ever thought possible. Go to scalemybusinessfast.com to watch it right now.